Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to all our viewers. Coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo, I'm Joel Outscoon with tonight's headlines. President Rajapaksa meets Indian Prime Minister Modi in Delhi for bilateral talks. Will the students from Allied Science faculty sit for the exams tomorrow? Wreckage recovered off the coast of Chalai identified as a Sri Lanka Air Force helicopter. Excavations in Kaldota unearthed the city which is believed where the Chandana Brahme took place, according to the chronicles of Mahavamsa. Let's now cross over to our Newsfirst studios for a comprehensive news bulletin.
Thank you very much, Joel, for bringing us the headlines. Well, moving on to your top stories with me, Mahina Bongzo. The Sri Lanka Air Force says that it has identified the wreckage of the helicopter found and recovered by the Sri Lanka Navy off the coast of Chale. A press release issued by the Air Force notes that it has identified the wreckage of the SLAF Mi-24 helicopter CH-614, which went missing in March 1997. According to the Sri Lanka Air Force, the helicopter had crashed with all on board and was believed to have been shot down by enemy fire, which was later confirmed by intelligence sources. The recovered wreckage was of a helicopter that was inducted to the Sri Lankan Air Force in November of 1996 and was on a ferry flight from Palali to Hinguragoda for routine maintenance when it came under attack. The Sri Lanka Air Force notes that no human remains have been found at the site of the wreckage, which had undergone severe deterioration due to long-term exposure to sea water.
Ending a long wait, Pope Francis has announced that he will make a visit to Asia early next year. The Pope made this comment while speaking to reporters for nearly an hour on the plane taking him back from a visit to the Middle East.
Rispetto all'Asia ci sono in programma 2 viaggi. Questo al Sud Corea per l'incontro dei giovani asiatici e poi in gennaio prossimo un viaggio di 2 giorni allo Sri Lanka e poi nelle Filippine alla zona che ha avuto quel tsunami, no?
Born in Argentina, Pope Francis is the first Latin American and the first Jesuit to lead the Roman Catholic Church. Until the 13th of March 2013, he was Cardinal Jorge Maria Bergoglio of Buenos Aires. According to his official Vatican biography, he was ordained as a Jesuit in 1969 and went on to study in Argentina and Germany. He became a bishop in 1992, Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 1998. At the 2005 conclave too, he was seen as a contender for the papacy.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa and the new Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met for bilateral talks this morning in New Delhi.
President Rajapaksa called on the Indian Prime Minister at Hyderabad House in New Delhi, India, where the President was warmly welcomed. The two leaders had an in-depth discussion on issues of mutual concern such as rehabilitation, resettlement, reconstruction and the ongoing reconciliation process in the country. President Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Modi also discussed the issues of fishermen of both countries and measures that can be taken to find a permanent solution through a process in which the views of fishermen from both countries can be taken into consideration. Prime Minister Modi expressed his view that SAARC must focus on common issues that can benefit the region and reflect regional concerns on a global platform. President Rajapaksa, welcoming the views expressed by Prime Minister Modi, stated that India's leadership is crucial for the success of SAARC ventures and Sri Lanka looks forward to working with India in taking forward SAARC operations.
Will the meeting between President Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Modi bring a permanent solution to the Indo-Lanka fishermen problem? You can simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk or Facebook page and post your comments and views on this subject.
Well, Narendra Modi began his first day in office as India's new Prime Minister amid a flurry of activity today. Modi appeared in the Prime Minister's office, paid a floral tribute to a portrait of India's iconic independence movement leader Mahatma Gandhi before sitting down at his desk and signing one of his first documents as the country's leader. Modi was sworn in as India's Prime Minister, taking charge of the world's largest democracy as it struggles with an economic slowdown and a severe shortage of jobs for its booming young population. Indian voters and foreign investors alike have high hopes for Modi, whose slick campaign presented him as a business-friendly leader who would jumpstart investment. Meanwhile, the eyes of the world's media were focused on the talks between Modi and his Pakistani counterpart Nawaz Sharif. The two men shook hands and smiled before a meeting lasting just under an hour. India and Pakistan, the nuclear-armed rivals, have a deep history of mistrust, and the BJP advocates a tough stance on Pakistan. Modi himself is viewed with suspicion by many in Pakistan because of the deadly 2002 anti-Muslim riots in Gujarat while he was the state's chief minister. Bilateral trade and regional security topped the agenda in the meeting between the two leaders. Modi had reportedly reiterated to Sharif the importance of ending terrorism in Pakistan. Sharif came to power last year promising to rebuild relations with India, but has been under pressure to toughen his stance from hardliners at home, particularly within the army. Early in the day, Sharif visited India's historic mosque Jama Masjid in New Delhi, which was built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan. Modi also held meetings today with other SAARC leaders, the first of the day being with the outgoing Afghan President Hamid Karzai. Karzai had informed Modi during the meeting that it was the terrorist group Lashkar-e-Taiba that was responsible for the recent attack on the Indian consulate in Afghanistan's Herat province. Modi also met with Nepal's Prime Minister Sushil Koirala, Maldives President Abdullah Yamin Abdul Gayoom, Bhutan Prime Minister Leontien Tshering Tobgay, and Prime Minister of Mauritius Navin Ramgoolan during the course of the day. Modi, who came into power with promises of operating a small government with better governance, has appointed a cabinet of 24 ministers. Modi also appointed several other non-cabinet ministers or ministers of state with independent charge. His cabinet members, including Arun Jaitley, the new Minister of Finance and Defence, echoed his sentiments of less government and more governance.
I'm conscious of the fact that I'm taking over at a very challenging time, particularly when there is a need to rebuild the confidence in the Indian economy. The challenges are very obvious. We have to restore back the pace of growth, contain inflation, and obviously concentrate on fiscal consolidation itself.
Yeah, there are several challenges before the railway department, the development of infrastructure, the safety and other measures that need to be taken care of. So all these things will be in detail, it will be studied, and further steps will be taken in this.
The President of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society, Venerable Banagal Upatissatthera, has congratulated the new Indian External Affairs Minister, Sushma Swaraj, on her appointment as India's first woman Minister of External Affairs. Addressing a letter to the new Indian External Affairs Minister, the President of the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society notes that her new position will further strengthen the cordial ties she has with Sri Lanka. Venerable Banagal Upatissatthera also noted that Sushma Swaraj is a leader who has always supported the Sri Lanka Mahabodhi Society. In his letter, the Venerable Thera expressed his gratitude to the new External Affairs Minister for the support she has given to the annual Sanchi Mahotsav at the Sanchi Viharya. In his letter, Venerable Banagal Upatissatthera also thanks Sushma Swaraj for the continuous support she has extended towards the International Buddhist University in Sanchi that is under construction.
Moving on to another one of our headline stories tonight. The Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation staged a demonstration in Colombo today while the Satyagraha campaigns commenced by allied health science undergraduates in several parts of the island are continuing. University administration meanwhile has noted that if these students fail to sit for the examination scheduled for tomorrow, they will be considered to have failed. The Federation of University Teachers Associations meanwhile claims that the authorities are engaging in creating a crisis situation within universities in an attempt to attract higher education to the private sector. The Inter-University Bhikkhu Federation commenced their protest opposite the Colombo Fort railway station this afternoon to demonstrate against the government's policy to sell education and the suppression of student protest. The demonstrators staged a protest march to the University Grants Commission. They demanded a discussion with the University Grants Commission.
අපේ කිසි හිරියරයක් අපාර අර ඉස්පිරිතාලේ යන කට්ටිය ගන්න දෙන්න සාකච්ඡාවකට යන්න පස් දිනකට ලෑස්ති කරලා තියෙනවා.
අධ්‍යාපනය කියලා කියන්නේ අයිතියක්. ඒක වෙළඳ භාණ්ඩයක් නෙවෙයි. ඒ නිසායි අපි මේ සාකච්ඡාව මාධ්‍යවේදී හිතවතුන් සමග අපි ඉල්ලුවේ. ඒ සඳහා යනවා නම් මෙතන ඉන්න සියලුම මාධ්‍යවේදී හිතවතුන් සමග අපි මේ සාකච්ඡාවට යනවා.
අනුරාධපුර භික්ෂු විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ
Bhikkhus at the Anuradhapura Bhikkhu University, the Buddhist and Pali University at the Jayawardhanapura and Colombo universities are being severely suppressed. It is this government that is suppressing them. The government is trying to bring forth an era where education will be limited to a wealthy class who can pay various amounts of money for education. They are oppressing bhikkhus who are raising their voice against this.
Told that there are the Buddhist priests have come to meet us. I hope they will ask for a discussion because we are willing to, we would discuss with them. We are willing to discuss with them, and if there are any major issues, we will discuss with the relevant universities, the councils, and correct them because we are here to work. We are here to serve the people.
The Satyagraha campaign commenced by allied health science undergrads in Colombo and Peradeniya are continuing unabated. The campaign was commenced demanding that the duration of their degree be extended to 4 years.
අපි උන්ට ආරාධනය කරා පස්වෙනිදා පන්ති වලට සහභාගී වෙන්න කියලා. නමුත්
we invited them to attend classes on the 5th, but they did not attend. Therefore, we have decided that they must attend the examination scheduled for the 28th. If they do not attend, they will be considered failed students. We will implement this. We are doing this for the benefit of the students. I believe that the Faculty Council will make a sympathetic decision to allow them to attend classes and grant them an extension for the examination should they request it owing to insufficient time to prepare.
The Inter-University Students' Federation meanwhile says that instead of attending tomorrow's examination, allied health science undergraduates together with other trade unions will stage a joint demonstration.
Not even one student will sit for the examination. We have made a demand. If we do not get the duration we have asked for, it is pointless to sit for the examinations for this degree. Until this struggle ends, until allied health science undergraduates receive a 4-year degree, students will not sit for the examinations. If they attempt to dubiously influence students, we will take action against that too.
The IUSF also charges that the chairperson of the University Grants Commission holds a position on the governing council of a private university.
The most recent incident is that the chairperson of the University Grants Commission has been appointed to the governing council of the private university in Malabar. How can this happen? This is a historic incident. What politics is behind this? What is the purpose? What is the vision?
Inter-university students are making totally incorrect allegations that is very unfair by people who are working in this country. As undergraduates we expect, because they are using public money, we expect them to find the correct information and inform the public. They are saying that I'm a director of this Malabar item. It is totally incorrect.
There is a sense of instability today owing to the suppression of promises to protect universities as a national system for the failure to give active support. Although on one hand they are trying to show that they are developing outstation universities, what we can see is a trend to develop private universities. But in the end, who will be held accountable for the standards of these institutions? Therefore, we can see that our education system has come to that crisis situation we were talking about. In order to resolve this, they must definitely fulfill the promises that were made to us last time.
You're watching Primetime News live here on Newsfirst. Up next is Action TV.
Although there is a surplus of teachers at President's College, Kotahena, as a result of these teachers not being given proper timetables to teach, not a single student who sat for the ordinary level examinations from the school last year passed the examination. On Thursday, Action TV exposed the steps that were taken by provincial authorities with regard to the ad hoc actions of the monk, who is the acting principal of this school and thereby responsible for failing to provide the teachers with timetables. The remedy they used could be described as using a band-aid to treat a festering wound. Their solution was to transfer a student sitting for the ordinary level examinations from the school to another. A similar decision that was taken by the Provincial Education Secretary was rejected today by the principal of St. John's College, Nugegoda. Although this rejection did not bring forth a positive result for the student, it could be considered that he escaped a fate that would have been akin to being thrown from the frying pan into the fire. If the decision taken by the Provincial Education Secretary had been accepted, this boy would have been made to travel from Koralawalla, Moratuwa to St. John's College in Nugegoda. A psychological evaluation had affirmed that this student, who had been educated at the Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya from grade 1 to 4, was far advanced to his peers in terms of academics and other skills. The child underwent this psychological examination in April last year at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital. This could be used as evidence to show the consideration that was shown by the grade 4 teacher at the Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya at the time to her students. The teacher had advised this boy's parents to take him to a psychologist after he showed a slight decline in performance at the first term examination. The student later passed and was enrolled to grade 5 this year. However, a professor of child psychology at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital has informed not only the class teacher but also the principal of Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya that the treatment that this boy was being made to face in the classroom was akin to harassment. The professor had informed the principal and the teacher of this situation while the boy was receiving in-house treatment at the hospital. In her letter, she also writes of her willingness to deploy a team of doctors from the hospital in order to correct the classroom environment in this boy's class. However, as a result of the failure of the administration of the Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya and the Piliyandala Zonal Education Office to recognize the importance of the observations, conclusions and recommendations of this specialist doctor and reject providing assistance to implement these recommendations for over 3 months, the school journey of this boy, who was to sit for the grade 5 scholarship examination this year, has been stalled. On one hand, this rejection could be viewed as a challenge extended to a specialist professor who has a sound knowledge of child psychology. By deciding to give the boy a transfer to St. John's College, Nugegoda, it is possible that the Provincial Education Secretary has emboldened the challengers. The principal of St. John's College, Nugegoda, no doubt having identified the true duties of a principal, refused to be a stakeholder in this matter. Shouldn't the subject ministry also take his lead and ensure that justice is served to this exceptionally bright student? Secretary to the Ministry of Education, this is over to you. A media briefing on the National Human Resources and Employment Policy Strategy and Plan was convened in Colombo today. Speaking at this briefing, Senior Minister D.E.W. Gunasekara highlighted the importance of the NHREP.
ඉන්දියාවේ කැබිනට් එක විවෘත වෙපු වෙලාවේ තමදාල් දකින්නේ නැති අධ්‍යාපන අපිට කෙනෙක් නැහැ.
When the Indian cabinet was sworn in, you may have witnessed that there was no minister for education or higher education. There was no minister for vocational training. I was watching it too. There was a minister for human resources. We do not have a program or a policy on human resources. Thereby, we cannot supply the demands of the national and global economy. If we continue this way, we will have to face problems and crisis midway. At present, we may be satisfied that poverty has reduced to 8%. But I do not think it is suitable for us to reach conclusions based on only this data. There is inequality in society. Poverty and inequality are two different factors. Owing to a rapid development, poverty reduces rapidly, but the income gap in our society broadens.
වේගවත් සංවර්ධනයකින් දුප්පත්කම් පටස් ගන්න අඩු වෙනවා. නමුත් සමාජය තුළ ආදායම් පරතරය පුළුල්.
United Nations Special Rapporteur on the Human Rights of Migrants, Francois Crepeau, today urged the government of Sri Lanka to boost the efforts it has made in recent years in order to prevent exploitation and abuse of Sri Lankans migrating abroad for work. At the end of his first official visit to Sri Lanka, Crepeau also called for better monitoring of the recruitment industry through putting in place a comprehensive policy with high standards, improving recruitment agencies' services and holding them accountable, regulating irregular sub-agents and reducing costs for migrants. Quoting the 2008 Sri Lankan National Labour Migration Policy, the human rights expert said malpractice by private recruitment agencies and gaps in the regulatory framework for sub-agents lead to exploitative and abusive situations for migrant workers. The special rapporteur noted that despite recent initiatives, Sri Lankan authorities are often not able to protect Sri Lankan migrants in the destination states. He also added that cooperation with destination states needs to be enhanced in order to ensure that the rights of Sri Lankans are respected during the whole migration process. The Special Rapporteur will present a comprehensive report of the visit to the UN Human Rights Council in June 2015. The police media spokesperson convened a media briefing today. Speaking at the media briefing, SSP Ajit Rohana revealed the identities of 3 LTT suspects arrested recently in Malaysia.
3 persons identified by us were recently arrested in Malaysia on the 15th. Sri Lankan police officers arrived in Kuala Lumpur and took custody of the 3 men and brought them back to Sri Lanka last night. One of the 3, Sandaralinga Rajagushantan, alias Mulit Chelvam, as he was known in the LTTE, had been in Malaysia from 2004 until the time of his arrest. There was an open warrant and a red notice issued on him. The Malaysian police arrested him and have handed him over to us. Another person arrested in Malaysia was Mahadevan Kirubakaran. He had fled to Malaysia in 2006, and since then he has directly and indirectly supported various LTTE activities in Sri Lanka. The third is Selvathurei Kirubanandan. He fled to Malaysia in 2006.
Selvathurei Kirubanandan නැමැති තැනැත්තෙක් මොහු 2006 අවුරුද්දේදී මැලේසියාවට පලා ගියා.
And moving on to another one of our headline stories, archaeological excavations in the Kaltot area in Balangoda have reportedly unearthed what is believed to be the city of Chandanagrama, which is mentioned in the Mahavamsa Chronicles. Professor Rad Somadeva of the Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology at the University of Kelaniya says that 90% of the evidence that has been found indicates that this is indeed the site of the lost city of Chandanagrama.
An archaeological dig is currently underway in the Kaltot area, about 30 kilometers from Balangoda. Professor Raj Somadeva of the Postgraduate Institute of Archaeology at the University of Kelaniya says that numerous rock caves and Shila Lekana were discovered at this location, where the plain meets the southern face of the Central Hills. These researchers are disregarding the dangers in their earnest search for information on an ancient history that has been buried without a trace by the sands of time, to present this knowledge to the future generations.
Hunters who came from the mountains to Horton Plains took to agriculture amid owing to various environmental reasons they learnt agriculture. They also continued with their hunting parallel to this. They discovered metal. There's another history stream parallel to the story of our history we tell today. We had forgotten this. This is because over the past century, we have been thinking about our history based on texts like the Mahavamsa and other sources which give us the same history. I have no doubt that within 5 to 6 years, we will be able to present to the nation a series of strong ideas on this hidden history.
The
expedition headed by Professor Raj Somadeva has also been successful in unearthing about 11 historic Shila.
It is possible that the settlements of the Shastriya Katuragama and of Chandanagrama who were invited to participate in the Sri Mahabodhi festival as mentioned in the Mahavamsa are here. We know that the Shastriyas of Katuragama were in the area known as Kumbukang Oya, but there was no clear idea of where Chandanagrama was. We can say with 90% confidence that although it has been partially identified, this is the location of Chandanagrama as noted in our history. Although it had the word Grama in its name, it functioned as a city.
The 20th ABU Copyright Committee meeting and forum concluded today at Stein Studios in Ratmalana.
The 20th ABU Copyright Committee meeting and forum organized by the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union was hosted by MTV, MBC and Newsfirst.
Having taken into consideration the given theme, increasing IP awareness for broadcasters, today's forum is more appropriate because we are talking about the related rights, which are the rights of performers, sound recording producers, and also broadcasting organizations.
The topic I want to discuss or I want to present to you is clearly linked with the title of the session. It's about awareness of IP. In this context, so I want to make it clear that it's all linked with each other. The IP within the broadcasting organization is mixed and linked with all other things we do as a broadcaster.
Now, over the past several days, we brought you the details of several homicides that were reported from Alpitia and Warapitia in Matale. Well, another homicide was reported from Minuangoda today. Details on Crime Watch.
A body with laceration marks was discovered on the sports ground of President's College, Minuangoda this morning. The murder victim has been identified as 17-year-old youth from Miriswata in Minuangoda. His family says that he had left home last evening to meet a friend. The police say that they discovered several liquor bottles at the scene of the crime. When considering the Minuangoda town, this is in truth a deserted area. It is possible for dangers like this to be prevalent here. Such incidents have occurred prior to this. It would be good if some sort of security plan is implemented here, or even if police barriers are established here, at the very least.
And moving on to business news, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that treasury bills amounting to 12 billion rupees are to be issued at auction tomorrow. Tenders will close at 11 a.m. The CBSL will be offering T-bills maturing in 91 days to the tune of 1.5 billion rupees, T-bills maturing in 182 days to the tune of 2.5 billion rupees, and T-bills maturing in 364 days to the tune of 8 billion rupees. The minimum bid will be 5 million rupees, with multiples of 1 million being accepted thereafter. The CBSL also raised 5.95 billion rupees at the Treasury bond auction held today. Bids amounting to 6.75 billion rupees were received for bonds maturing in 5 years and 1 month with an interest rate of 10.6%, of which 1.75 billion rupees were accepted. Bids amounting to 5.474 and 5.53 billion rupees were received for bonds maturing in 14 years and 7 months and 30 years respectively, with interest rates of 13% and 13.5%. 2.2 billion rupees of bids for bonds maturing in 14 years and 7 months were accepted, while 2 billion rupees of bids for bonds maturing in 30 years were accepted.
In more local news, speaking at an event held in Hambantota today, United National Party parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa said that in spite of the delay, government ministers have now understood the reality.
දැන් ඇතුලින් ඇමතිවරුන්ට මතක් වෙලා මේ යන විදිහ වැරදි කියලා. ආණ්ඩුවෙන් අයින් වෙන්නේ නැහැලු.
Ministers on the inside have remembered now that this path is wrong. They say that they will not leave the government and that they are doing everything to correct the government. The biggest problem facing the ministers writing within the government is their inability to divide their own share. We are happy that you have understood the lies, fraud and thievery of this government, at least after 4 years. MP Sajith Premadasa made a donation today to the Sri Abhinavaramaya Vihara in Asanagala Osuwinna in Thisamaharama, parallel to the program being implemented in the Hambantota district in commemoration of the 21st death anniversary of late President Ranasinghe Premadasa.
Well, United National Party parliamentarian Ravi Karunanayake commented on the activities of the cabinet at an event held this morning.
The government realizes now that it is sinking and is looking for reasonable answers. Minister Vimal Veeravansa now says that all this happened because of PB Jasundara. What was he doing all this time? What needs to be done to make life easy for the people? Today world oil prices have dropped by 4%. Why isn't the oil price being reduced here? It is the cabinet that is heading this inhumane government, which does not reduce prices when they reduce or increase prices when they increase. It is not the secretaries.
The parliamentarian made this comment while attending a Shramadana campaign this morning at Prime Minister's College in Bloemendal, Grand Pass. 2 persons who illegally held 6 turtles have been arrested. Our Newsfirst reporter has the details.
A bag containing 6 turtles was found after 2 suspects were stopped for inspection by police patrolling the Hangurankata area. The 2 suspects were apprehended and were produced to court. Hangurankata police are carrying out further investigations into the incident.
The long-awaited SIMA Business Leaders Summit commenced in Colombo this evening. The electronic media partner for the event is Newsfirst.
Under the theme Sustainability, Imagine, Implement, the SEMA Business Leaders Summit got underway in Colombo this evening. The two-day summit will feature renowned corporate leaders from top-notch organizations who would share best practices that have sustained their organization's ability to achieve excellence.
The people who are making difference in the lives of the poor were never part of the dialogue, were never part of the resources that were given for education or health. It was primarily the public sector who was supposed to deal with it. So we tried to change the paradigm. We said, let's give the resources to people and institutions that have the commitment to the people. What we were up against was capacity. Invariably people would say, but they don't have the capacity. So the paradigm was shifted in the sense that you said, we can build capacity, but commitment is not easy to build, or it's impossible. You either have it or you don't have it.
The Jaffna District Development Committee meeting was held at the Jaffna District Secretariat today. While attention was focused on sectors including education and health in the district, a confrontational situation arose when the recruiting of youth to the volunteer force via the District Secretariat was discussed.
The District Development Committee meeting was held under the auspices of Northern Province Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran and Minister Douglas Devananda.
மாவட்டத்திலே வேலையேற்றிருக்கின்ற இளைஞர் யுவதிகளுக்கு தொண்டர் அடிப்படையில் அவர்கள் விருப்பம் தெரிவிக்கின்ற பட்சத்திலே அவர்களுடைய விண்ணப்பங்களை பெற்று நாங்கள் அடுத்த நடவடிக்கையாக எடுக்க முடியும் என்ற அடிப்படையிலே இந்த வாலண்டியர் சர்வீஸ், அதாவது இந்த தொண்டர் படையினும் சேர்க்கின்ற பொழுது அதனுடைய ப்ரொசீஜர் என்ன, அதனுடைய உண்மையில் அவர்களுக்கு கிடைக்கின்ற நன்மைகள் என்ன என்பது தொடர்பான ஒரு விளக்கம் ஒன்று அவர்களுக்கு அளிக்கப்பட்டது, பிரதேச செயலாளர்களுக்கும் அளிக்கப்பட்டது. இந்த ஆட்சேர்ப்பில் அல்லது தொண்டர் படைக்கானதில் பரப்புரையாளர்களாக பிரதேச செயலர்கள் பங்கு பெற்று போகின்றார்களா? உங்களுடைய பதில் என்னவாக இருந்தது? அதாவது உங்களுக்கு இது தொடர்பாக விளக்கம் அளிக்கப்பட்டது என்று சொல்லுகின்றீர்கள். எல்லாருக்கும் தான், அதாவது எல்லாருக்கும் என்று சொல்லுகின்ற பொழுது மாவட்ட செயலருக்கும் பிரதேச செயலர்களுக்கும். உங்களுடைய பதில் அதற்கு என்னவாக இருந்தது? அதாவது நீங்கள் இந்த படையணி, இந்த படையோ தொண்டர் படையோ எங்களுடைய இளைஞர்களை இணைப்பதற்கு அவர்கள் அதிக அளவில் சேருகிறார்கள் என்பதென்றால் தான் உங்களிடம் வந்திருக்கின்றார்கள். ஆகவே நீங்கள் இதனுடைய பரப்புரையாளர்களாக அல்லது முகவர்களாக தொழிற்பட போகின்றீர்களா? இதில் உங்களுடைய பதில் என்னவாக இருந்தது? இந்த ராணுவத்தால் சொல்லப்பட்ட செய்தி அவர்களுக்கு சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கு, அவ்வளவுதான். இல்ல, இவர்களுடைய பதில் என்னவாக இருந்தது? அதாவது சொல்லப்பட்டது, அதாவது இந்த அவங்களோட நோக்கத்தை நாங்கள் தெளிவுபடுத்திருக்கிறோம் தவிர இதுல வேறொரு விளக்கமும் இல்லை. யாருக்கு தெளிவுபடுத்திருக்கிறீங்க? பிரதேச செயலாளர்களுக்கு வரணும். பிரதேச செயலாளர்களுக்கு இவங்கள், அதாவது இந்த ராணுவ அதிகாரிகள் தெளிவுபடுத்தி இருக்கிறார்கள். இதுதான் நடந்த விளக்கம். ஒரு விஷயம் இதுல அனாவசியமான கேள்வி இது அதற்குரிய சந்தர்ப்பமே இல்லை. எப்படி நீங்கள் அப்படி கேட்க முடியாது? இது அதற்குரிய சந்தர்ப்பமே இல்லை. சும்மா பொய்யாதான் கொடுக்க வேண்டாம்.
Royal College Colombo recorded victory in their game against arch rival St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia in the Under-19 Invitational Schools Football Championship. 20 schools are participating in the tournament organised by the Football Federation of Sri Lanka. 40 games are due to be held in the preliminary rounds under 4 categories. Royal College played STC in the City League grounds in Colombo under Group B. Both teams did not score in the first half of the game. The Royalists managed to slot in a goal in the last 10 minutes and went on to win the game 1-0. Meanwhile, the game between St. Joseph's College Colombo and St. Peter's College Colombo kicked off at the CRNFC grounds. The Peterites won the game 1-0.
It's time now for the weather forecast.
Let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Turning our attention to the Jaffna area first, it's cloudy skies with a chance of thunder showers. Similar weather conditions can be expected in the Batticaloa district as well, while showers can be expected tomorrow morning in Hambantota and the surrounding areas. Cloudy skies are expected throughout the day in the central hills, especially in Kandy. Some areas could experience thunder showers, while certain areas could experience clear skies. Intermittent showers could be experienced in the Gaul and Mathura districts. At the same time, intermittent thunder showers could also be experienced tonight and tomorrow in Colombo and the surrounding areas. Forecasts are predicted wind speeds of 50 to 60 kilometers per hour in the sea area of the island, which could lead to rough seas. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast for some of the key towns and cities in the island.
Thank you, Joel, for bringing us the weather. Well, that wraps up tonight's edition of Prime Time News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Just a reminder that you can keep abreast of all the news we're following here at News First by visiting our website, newsfirst.lk. Good night and good luck.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.